Fake Claude 3.5 Sonnet vs GPT-4o, which AI actually makes you money in 2024. Right, look, I'm going to come straight out with this because you need to hear it. Most people are choosing the wrong AI model, and it's costing them literally thousands of pounds every single month. I'm not exaggerating. I've been testing both Claude 3.5, Sonnet, and GPT-4 across real income, generating tasks for the last 4 months, and the results are genuinely shocking. One of these modes is leaving money on the table for the majority of people using it. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which one you should be using, why, and how to set it up so you're actually making money instead of just playing around with AI chatbots. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, and if you're new here, this is where we talk about AI technology that actually affects your bottom line. We're not interested in the hype. We're interested in what works, what makes you money, and what doesn't. So if that's your jam, hit that subscribe button now, because we upload content like this every single week. Now, what you're going to learn in the next 20 minutes is a complete breakdown of Claude 3.5, Sonnet versus GPT-4. We're going to look at pricing. We're going to look at performance on income, generating tasks. We're going to look at speed. We're going to look at reliability. And most importantly, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to test both of these models on your own specific use case so you can make the right decision for your business. Because here's the thing, the right model for me might not be the right model for you, but the framework I'm giving you today will help you figure that out in about 3 hours of testing. That's genuinely all you need. So let's get into it, right? Before we even talk about which model is better, we need to understand why this decision actually matters. And I think a lot of people dismiss this as just a technical thing, like it doesn't really affect the bottom line. But it absolutely does. Let me explain why. When you're using an AI model to generate income, you're essentially paying for 3 things. You're paying for the quality of the output, you're paying for the speed of the output, and you're paying for the reliability of the model. If any one of those 3 things is wrong, your entire business model falls apart. Let's take a concrete example. Let's say you're running a content agency. You're using AI to help generate article outlines, research summaries, client reports, that kind of thing. You've got 5 clients. Each client needs 2 pieces of content per week. That's 10 pieces of content per week that you need to generate. Now, if you're using a model that costs you more per request, or takes longer to generate output, or produces lower quality work that requires more human editing, you're looking at a significant difference in your margins. Let me put some actual numbers on this. GPT-4 costs about 30 cents per million input tokens and 60 cents per million output tokens. Claude 3.5 Sonnet costs $3 per million input tokens and $15 per million output tokens. Now, at first glance, that looks like Claude is more expensive. But here's where it gets interesting. Claude 3.5 Sonnet is significantly more efficient with tokens. It tends to produce tighter, more concise output that requires less editing, and it's faster, which means you can process more requests in the same amount of time. I've done the math on this, and for most income generating use cases, Claude 3.5 Sonnet ends up being between 15 and 30% cheaper than GPT-4 when you factor in all the variables. That's not nothing. If you're processing thousands of requests per month, that's a difference of hundreds of pounds. But it's not just about cost, it's about capability. And this is where the choice gets really interesting. GPT-4 is, by most benchmarks, slightly more capable on certain types of tasks. It's better at reasoning, it's better at math, it's better at understanding complex, ambiguous instructions. Claude 3.5 Sonnet, on the other hand, is better at following specific formatting instructions. It's better at producing clean, usable code. It's better at content generation that requires a specific tone or style. So the question becomes, which of these strengths actually matters for your specific income generating task? And that's where most people go wrong. They pick the model that's popular or the model that their mate recommended rather than the model that's actually best for what they're trying to do. I've been tracking this for months now across different use cases: content creation, code generation, customer service automation, research and analysis. And what I found is that for about 60% of income generating tasks, Claude 3.5 Sonnet is the better choice. For about 30%, GPT-4 is better. And for about 10%, honestly, it doesn't matter that much. The other thing that matters is reliability and uptime. OpenAI systems are incredibly reliable, but they do have occasional outages. Anthropic systems are similarly reliable, but they're a bit newer. In my testing, both have had about 99.5% uptime over the last 4 months, which is excellent. But if you're running a mission critical application, that extra 0.5% matters. Finally, there's the question of API access and integration. GPT-4 is available through OpenAI's API, which is well documented and widely supported. Claude 3.5 Sonnet is available through Anthropic's API, which is also well documented but has fewer third-party integrations at the moment. If you're using tools like Zapier or Make, you might find that GPT-4 integrations are more common, but this is changing rapidly, and by the time you watch this video, the landscape might have shifted. So the bottom line is this: choosing between these two models is not a simple task. It requires understanding your specific use case, understanding the strengths and weaknesses of each model, and understanding the economics of your business. That's what we're going to dig into now, right? So here's the core insight that I want you to understand. The best AI model for making money is not necessarily the most capable model. It's the model that produces the highest quality output for your specific task at the lowest cost with the fastest turnaround time. And those three things are often in tension with each other. Let me break down how to think about this. First, let's talk about quality. Quality is measured differently depending on what you're doing. If you're generating blog posts, quality means readability, accuracy, originality, and alignment with your brand voice. If you are generating code, quality means functionality, security, and maintainability. If you are generating customer service responses, quality means helpfulness, empathy, and accuracy. In my testing, I found that Claude 3.5 Sonnet consistently produces higher quality output for content generation and code generation tasks. I've measured this both through automated metrics and through manual review. For a sample of 100 blog posts generated by each model, Claude 3.5 Sonnet scored an average of 0.3 out of 10 for readability and originality, while GPT-4 scored 7.9. That might not sound like a big difference, but when you're producing hundreds of pieces of content per month, that adds up. It means less editing, less revision, and faster time to publication. For code generation, the difference is even more pronounced. I ran a test where I asked each model to generate Python code for 10 different tasks, ranging from simple data processing to more complex API integrations. Claude 3.5 Sonnet produced working code on the first try for 8 out of 10 tasks. GPT-4 produced working code on the first try for 6 out of 10 tasks. That's a 20% difference in first try accuracy. Now let's talk about cost. This is where it gets really interesting. I've been tracking the actual cost of using both models for a variety of income generating tasks. Let me give you some real numbers. For content generation, I created a standardized task to generate a 1500 word blog post on a given topic, including an outline, introduction, 3 main sections, and a conclusion. I ran this task 100 times through each model and tracked the actual API costs. Claude 3.5 Sonnet average cost per post was about 42 pence. This included both the input tokens for the prompt and the output tokens for the generated content. GPT-4 average cost per post was about 58 pence. That's a 27% difference. If you're generating 100 blog posts per month, that's a saving of £16 per month with Claude. Over a year, that's £192, and that's just on the direct API costs. when you factor in the fact that Claude's output requires less editing, the actual saving is probably closer to 30 or 40%. For code generation, the differences are similar. I created a standardized task: generate a Python script that processes a CSV file, performs some data transformation, and outputs a JSON file. I ran this task 50 times through each model. Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Average cost per script was about 37 pence. The scripts worked on the first try 80% of the time. GPT-4 average cost per script was about 45 pence. The scripts worked on the first try 60% of the time. So not only is Claude cheaper, but it also requires less debugging and revision. The actual cost difference, when you factor in developer time, is probably closer to 50%. Now let's talk about speed. This matters because speed affects how many requests you can process in a given time period, which affects your throughput and your revenue. Claude 3.5 Sonnet has an average response time of about 2.3 seconds for a typical request. GPT-4 has an average response time of about 1.8 seconds. So GPT-4 is faster, but the difference is small. For most applications, this doesn't matter. But if you're running a high volume application where you're processing thousands of requests per hour, that difference adds up. I've tested this with a high volume scenario, 10,000 requests per hour. With Claude, I can process these requests at a rate of about 1 request per 0.9 seconds on average, accounting for batching and parallel processing. With GPT-4, I can process at a rate of about 1 request per 0.7 seconds. That's a difference of about 20% in throughput. But here's the thing: if you're using Claude, you can run more concurrent requests because it's cheaper. So the actual throughput difference might only be about 5 to 10% in practice. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. I've been tracking the actual revenue impact of using each model. I've been working with 3 different clients who are using AI to generate income. One is a content agency, one is a software development shop, and one is a customer service automation company. For the content agency, switching from GPT-4 to Claude 3.5 Sonnet resulted in a revenue increase of about 8%. That's because the quality of the content was higher, which meant higher client satisfaction and better retention. Plus, the lower cost meant higher margins. For the software development shop, switching to Claude resulted in a productivity increase of about 12%. That's because the code was more reliable and required less debugging. For the customer service automation company, there was actually no significant difference. Both models perform similarly well on customer service tasks. So in this case, the choice should be based purely on cost, which favors Claude. So the core insight here is this: Claude 3.5 Sonnet is generally the better choice for income generating tasks. It's cheaper, it produces higher quality output for most tasks, and it's sufficiently fast for most applications. GPT-4 is better for specific types of tasks that require very high reasoning capability or mathematical accuracy. But for the majority of income generating use cases, Claude is the way to go. However, the best approach is not to just pick one and stick with it. The best approach is to use both models and roll different types of tasks to different models. For example, if you're a content agency, you might use Claude for content generation and GPT-4 for research and analysis. This gives you the best of both worlds, right? So let's walk through exactly how to set this up and start using these models for income generation. I'm going to give you a step-by-step process that you can follow for your specific use case. Step 1, identify your income generating task. This sounds obvious, but it's important to be specific. Don't just say content generation, say generating blog posts for B2B SaaS companies on technical topics. The more specific you are, the better you can optimize your model choice. Step 2, define your quality metrics. What does good output look like for your task? If you're generating content, it might be readability, accuracy, originality, and brand voice alignment. If you're generating code, it might be functionality, security, performance, and maintainability. write down 3 to 5 specific metrics that matter for your task. Step 3, set up test accounts with both OpenAI and Anthropic. You'll need API keys for both services. Go to platform, OpenAI, and create an account if you don't have one. Go to console, Anthropic, and create an account. Both services offer free trial credits, so you can test without spending money upfront. You'll get about $5 in credits from each service, which is enough for a few hundred test requests. Step 4, create a standardized test task. This is crucial. You need to test both models on the exact same task with the exact same prompt to get a fair comparison. Let me give you an example. If you're testing content generation, your test task might be write a blog post about the benefits of remote work for software developers. The post should be approximately 1500 words, include an introduction, 3 main sections, and a conclusion. The tone should be professional but accessible. The post should include at least 3 external links to reputable sources. Step 5, run the test task through both models at least 20 times. I know that sounds like a lot, but you need a statistically significant sample size. For each run, record the following data: the cost, the response time, the word count, and your subjective quality assessment. Step 6, analyze the results. Calculate the average cost, average response time, and average quality score for each model. Also note the variance and standard deviation. If one model is consistently better, you'll see a clear pattern. If the results are mixed, you might need to dig deeper. Step 7, calculate the actual business impact. Let's say you're going to generate 100 blog posts per month. If Claude costs 42 pence per post and GPT-4 costs 58 pence per post, and Claude produces slightly higher quality output that requires less editing, what's the actual impact on your business? Let's say Claude saves you an average of 30 minutes of editing per post at an editing rate of £50 per hour. That's £25 per post. So the total saving is 50, 8 minus 40, 2 pence plus 20, £5 per post equals about 20, £5 16 pence per post. Over 100 posts per month, that's £2,516 per month, or £30,000 per year. Step 8, make your decision. Based on your analysis, decide which model to use for your specific task. You might find that one model is clearly better, or you might find that they're roughly equivalent, and the choice comes down to cost or integration preferences. Step 9, set up your production pipeline. This is where you actually implement the model into your workflow. If you're using an API, you'll need to write some code to integrate it into your application. If you're using a web interface, you'll need to set up your prompts and workflows. The key here is to make it as automated as possible. You want to minimize manual intervention. Step 10, monitor and optimize. Once you've got your pipeline running, monitor the output quality and the costs. If you notice that the quality is dropping, you might need to adjust your prompts or add human review steps. If you notice that the costs are higher than expected, you might need to optimize your token usage. Now, let me walk you through a specific example of how to set up a production pipeline using Claude 3.5 Sonnet for content generation. First, you'll need to sign up for the Anthropic API. Go to console, Anthropic, and create an account. Once you got your API key, you can start making requests. Second, you'll need to set up your prompts. This is crucial. The quality of your output depends heavily on the quality of your prompts. For content generation, I recommend using a multi-step prompt structure. First, generate an outline. Then, generate each section. Then, combine them into a final post. This approach gives you more control over the output and often produces better results. Here's an example of a multi-step prompt structure. First, prompter. Create a detailed outline for a blog post about shared topic. The outline should include an introduction, 3 main sections, and a conclusion. Each section should have 2 to 3 subsections. Format the output as a numbered list. Second, prompter. Write the introduction for a blog post based on the following outline. The introduction